Hi, I am Claire. Welcome to my channel. For this week's video, I am going to be doing industrial tiny house in The Sims 4. So I am doing a tiny house for this week's video and probably the next 2 or 3 just because I am in the process of moving. Me and my family are moving and I know it's going to be a little bit busy, and so I'm going to just be doing some tiny houses for a little bit. I did get a very nice comment that was suggesting I make a 6-bedroom house, and I did attempt that, and I was like, no, this is too much right now, which is kind of funny though because my family is moving into a 6-bedroom house, and yes, that was actually my father who made that comment. And so anyway, back to the build. We are in the kitchen, and I wasn't really sure of the occupation this sim would have. It could be like a chef, it could be like a bookworm. I guess a bookworm isn't really occupation unless you are a librarian. And so I will leave the occupation up to you, but I just wanted to design this cute little modern industrial modern industrial tiny house. And so we are just going to be adding some decorations right now. Since there was this open window, I wanted to put some shelves there, and I feel like this turned it out really cute to have some books up on this shelf. And it did take me a while to edit all of the bookshelves so they were halfway in the window, and so you can see me doing that now. And I wanted to keep the colors pretty good with the rest of the house, and so there are the new white swatch and the new black swatch from this book stack that I am using, and I just really like how it looked. Maybe this sim is a chef, like I said, and that's all of their cookbooks, and I feel like this area just turned out really nice. And you can probably saw that the door to the backyard is open, and that is because I wanted this house to be fun for summer, easy just to go outside, maybe into the swimming pool. And so we are just going to be finishing up the bookshelf, and I had to move every single counter underneath this so the books would not clip under or into the cabinet, and that was a little bit frustrating, but I still feel like this result turned it out pretty well. And so we are just going to be placing the final books and just doing a little bit of adjusting, because I did also want to have a plant on the corner piece because I thought it'd be perfect. That's the best place for a plant, just getting 24-hour sunlight. And so we are just going to be adjusting the books, and then going to be adding a little plant and then some stuff on the right side of the bookshelf. And so it's just going to be adjusting. I thought this was really cool, and so I didn't really want to cut any of this out, and so just going to be adding that plant and going to just be adjusting. I feel like it was hard because I feel like I could go side to side pretty well when I was adjusting, but I couldn't go back and forth. And so we are just going to be adding the plant right here. And I didn't want to go for a really big plant, just kind of wanted to be a bookend plant. And so just going to be adding some more books. I thought that books on the right of the plant could be more of the current cookbook that the sim is reading. And so we are just going to be adding some pictures up here. I want to make this area a little bit more simple, and going to just be adding some other details, but it just is okay, I think 3 items on the shelf is good enough, or 4 including this picture. And just now going to be going and trying to see if an island would work. I felt like it was too big of a space, and so we do go back at the very end of the video to add a dining room table, but right now we are in the front of the house. And I wanted this space to just be a fun space to hang out. There is also a patio in the backyard, so your Sims can choose where they want to hang out. I feel like this sim could maybe be like the place to have like all the parties, and so we are just going to be getting rid of this bench and instead putting this art piece in from the Eco Lifestyle pack, and I feel like it just kind of brings some more like interest into the house. And also going to be adding some solar panel, and I just wanted to add another item from the Eco Lifestyle pack, and it is underneath the industrial search or the industrial tab. You can like search for styles, and that is very helpful. I was using that a lot during this build, and so it's going to be adding some pictures and going to just add a few more things. Going to add a little seating area when you first walk into this space, and I thought that was really nice. The industrial loft kit was also a very nice tool to have during this build, and so we are just going to be adding a little chair, add a chair, and trying to see if I want to add a little side table next to it as kind of a place for your Sims to drop off their imaginary keys. I did not use the clutter kit in this build, but it would have been a great place to put the keys with the phone item. And so we are just going to be trying to like see if I like this, see if it's like working close enough to the wall. And so also now just going to be adding this light. I'm going to be adding some lights, and I really liked the light from the City Living pack. I do use that light in the bedroom, and I also use that light you just saw on the end table next on the end table of the bed. And so we are just going to be now going into the living room. I wanted to separate the space, and I just kind of sunk this space down. Well, actually, I raised the other spaces up. This is like technically ground level, and so I feel like this just kind of helped give a little bit more difference to the space, have it a little separated. And so we are just going to be adding some plants and going to be adding a gaming console. I feel like I don't really add gaming consoles, and I knew I was using a lot of items from the City Living pack, and that is where the gaming console is from, and so I'm like, why not? I should use this. I also have a little smart home system for your Sims to use. And we're just going to be moving the couch a little closer and going to be adding this plant shelf for some privacy and just kind of give it a reason to be closer to the TV. And I was thinking that the sim could be a plant lover or a gardener, but I didn't really have the space for that in the backyard. Maybe they're just starting off with indoor plants and then they will move them outside when they are a little bit more grown. But I was also imagining this house to be kind of more for a summertime, so maybe they're just getting a head start on next summer. And so we are just going to be using this rug from the Industrial Loft kit. I was trying to see if it looked cool, like layering them, but I didn't really end up liking it, and so I just have two rugs layered. I didn't want to go for like three. I thought that was a little much, and so we are just going to be adding a bookshelf, and I thought like it was too big with the TV having like extra little wings, and so I just sized it down. And now we are going into the one and only bathroom. I probably should have said this earlier, but this is a one bed, one bath home, and so we are just going to be keeping it on theme, trying to kind of bring the modern element with having like the black and the white. And so just going to be adding a towel. Let's just try and keep it simple since this is a small house. I felt like I didn't need to have a overly large bathroom, and it is also close to the bedroom, so that's nice too. And so just going to be adding a laundry basket, feeling like it's too big, and so I sized it down, but it's only one sim that's living here, possibly two. And so like, you don't really have like a large laundry bag and or basket, and so just going to be adding a mirror and I do use the ones that were tagged industrial, but for this small space I just use this one from the base game. And going to be adding a hand towel. This is one of my favorite hand towels. I know it's a little bit weird to say, but I feel like it is just like an all-around good hand towel. It could work in like any space, any like more modern contemporary space, I should probably clarify. But we are now in the bedroom, and this is trying to keep with the theme, so I used the bed from the industrial loft kit and just trying to find a good swatch where it wouldn't like blend into the walls and to the floor. And so I use this blue with the yellow stripes, and going to be adding matching side tables. And I didn't really like how it was like laying out like this, and so I do move the bed to be on the other side of the wall with the windows, the two windows, and so I feel like this looks a little bit better. And then I had room to add a desk and computer, which I thought was nice. And I know you can now like lock your Sims out, or like lock your guest Sims out of your computer, but I still sometimes forget about that, and so I'm like, okay, good, you can just lock the door, and then your Sims friends won't be in your room playing on your computer. Although I did add a door with an open, so I don't know exactly how that will work. But I mean, yes, you could lock the computer from your Sims friends getting into it, and so we are just going to be adding a little open journal, just trying to keep that area very cute and simple. And so we are now just going to be adding some side table lamps, and I already knew which ones I wanted to use because those were the ones in the front entryway that I didn't end up using. And so we are just going to be adding a little picture and going to be adding some full-length mirrors. I didn't know if it was too much, but I also didn't really want to add another picture, and so I just add two of the same mirrors. But hey, you got to make sure you look good at all angles, you know? And so we are just going to be adding some stuff back into the kitchen, and going to be adding some stuff over the closet. I feel like that area like it like needed something because it's just like plain and white, but I wasn't exactly sure what, so I just sized down this little sculpture piece, and I feel like it looked nice, and so I thought I could add more, but it didn't really, the colors weren't going together. And so it's going to be adding a little plant. Like I said earlier, it's like I kind of wanted this sim to be like a gardener, and so we are just going to be going and adding another little city poster, and going to be changing the wallpaper around. I felt like this area, since the bed is on that other wall now, it would be a little bit more of like a statement piece in a way to have the brick on the same wall of the bed. And so we are just going to be adding another door out into the backyard, and going to be adding a pool and some railing. And I feel like this backyard turned out really nice. I feel like small backyards are really cute, especially when you don't have backdoor neighbors. And so we are just going to be adding a little detail onto the concrete, and going to be making this path wrap around, and going to just be adding a few more details in the backyard before I actually start placing down some furniture. I did want to have a little bit of privacy, and so I had this fence, but I couldn't bring it like all the way to the end of the property, and so that's why it kind of cuts off like that. And so we are just going to be adding a little outdoor dining, going to be adding a grill. I was going to say outdoor grill, but I wouldn't recommend having a grill inside of a house. And so we are just going to be adding some seating area. I was originally thinking of this area to be like a little gardening spot, but I feel like it seating area right off the bedroom made a little bit more sense, and so we are just going to be working on the pool area now. First is going to be adjusting the trim and going to be adding some pool ladders, and I feel like this area is very nice. I guess it's not really a pool, it's more of a spool, a small pool, and so we are going to just be adding these. I don't exactly know if they're like filters, but I thought they looked cool, make the pool look a little legit, and so we are just going to be going back up to the ground level and going to be adding just some other like skill building items. I felt like this area just needed a little bit more, and I feel like some skill building items was the best way to go, and so we are just going to be adding a garbage can because I can remember garbage cans, and I usually don't, but I remembered it this time, and just going to be making the outdoor garbage a little private, and I really like how I did that, how that turned it out. And finally, we are just going to be adding a chest table out here, and I feel like that looked really nice to have a little spot for chest, and going to be now adding the dining grid. And I feel like the space just looks a little empty now that the rest of the house is furnished, and so I use this table from the Industrial Loft Kit with the matching bar stools, and I feel like this area turned it out pretty nice, and just going to keep it simple. I feel like it needed a little something, but I still wanted it to feel like you had room to walk around, and so we are getting close to the end of this video. So please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you want to play in this house or any of my other builds. You can find them on the Sims 4 gallery. My ID is green_rose_sims. You can also find me on Instagram. So I hope to see you all next week for another Sims 4 video, and I hope you have an amazing week. Bye!